Everyone's jamming to this.
Just the reflex. Just happens.
Everyone's just like moving. It's Friday. They're feeling it.
Massive Friday vibes right here.
All right, let's bring it down. Finally, some music. Go retweet it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now,
Do my job and stuff, I guess.
We shall.
Go, go, go. How's it going, everyone? We've got a few viewers on here.
It's going. It's going.
It's going. It's a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling good.
Great weather out there. I mean, a good summer Friday in Denver is tough to beat. The only thing that would make it better is a game at Coors Field.
Ooh, I wish I was on the golf course again today, to be honest.
That's what Ryan did this morning.
I did. I played in a scramble with the DNVR golf boys. We shot 54 on 18 holes. I think that's pretty good.
Even for a scramble, that's pretty good.
That was a loud whistle in my ears.
Sorry.
Speaking of golf, WGT Golf is the official gaming partner of DNVR, and they are the most popular golf game in the world. It has become so popular that we had to open a third DNVR clubhouse. Each of them hold 250 people, so if you don't want to feel left out anymore, download WGT and join the DNVR 3 clubhouse by going to dnvrgolf.com. When you join, you get to participate in all of our DNVR tournaments that happen every weekend. Do we have a name for this weekend?
I believe it's the Big Drive Open.
Big Drive Open.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one.
DNVR 3 already's got 50 people in it, by the way, so get in that one.
Love this game. Like, it's not just us like telling you guys, like reading an ad. Like, people legitimately love this game, have so much fun. We love it. I'm really not that good at it, but I still like it. I mean, I feel like Rudo, Ryan, Harrison, Drew, I haven't seen your name up on the leaderboard, so I'm not sure
No.
if you're
no, you haven't.
You gotta scroll down a little further.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's correct.
But I don't normally play iPhone games, but I mean WGT is an exception, of course.
Yeah.
I love what's going on in the comments right now. We've got one person saying good evening, which I would say it's still late afternoon
What's
here.
up, Ray?
And then we've got Mac here saying he's making breakfast in Australia. We've got the whole time, all the time zones covered.
The sun never sets on the DNVR empire.
We had someone in from Peru on the Rockies post game the other night. That was pretty.
That's
It was amazing.
So
All
cool.
right. Well, like I was talking about, you can play in our tournaments, but then you can also play games like Closest to the Hole, Full Stroke Play on world famous golf courses. So make sure you go to DNVR Golf and download WGT Golf today. Welcome into the Denver Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Monroy, and with me today I've got Rudo, Drew Creasman, RK, and Harrison Wind. As always, this pod is presented by Breckenridge Brewery, our favorite beer here at DNVR. If you want to stock up on some Breck brews, don't forget to check out the 15-can Mile High City Copper Lager. While you're watching the Nuggets game, you got to drink a Mile High City Copper Lager. You can find it at Davidson's as well as most grocery stores, or you can head down to the DNVR bar like Ryan and I are here right now and try one of the 8 Breck brews we have on tap. You can also have some Strava Craft coffee, which is what I'm drinking. That's on our menu right now.
Make sure you tell the people that it's Strava Craft Coffee cold brew in a keg. It's actually incredible. I'm feeling amazing right now, and I was dragging like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I've probably had it every time I've been down there at the DNVR bar. You know, before you tap into a Breck brew, you want to set the table with a Strava Craft cold brew.
Yep, that's how you know it's going to be a good night. A little pre-drinking coffee.
Oh, geez. This was Phil. People can see how much I've drank, and I'm definitely feeling it. So it's a strong coffee, but I'm not jittery, which is what I feel with most cold brews. So check out Strava Craft Coffee. But all right, today's podcast, from the headline, most of you could see, how have your expectations for Denver sports changed in the last week or 2 weeks? That's going to be the main conversation for today. But we're going to start off with the Avs. I mean, how could you not start off with the Avs, who are on a 2-game win streak and are now 1 game away from first place in the Western Conference? Rudo, how has it been watching your Avs again?
Oh, it's great. I'm not only happy that hockey's back, but especially that game against Dallas. the exhibition game was an exhibition. The first game was like, all right, both these teams are pretty rusty, but you'll take the win. Against Dallas, that the Avs came to play, and they looked like the best team in the NHL. End of story. The asterisk is theirs to win at this point.
Ooh. Against Dallas, they won 4-0. Shutout win for Pavel Francouz.
Yep. Frankie played quite well in that one. Hard to argue against it. There is an unwritten rule in hockey where if your goaltender gets a shutout, you play him the next game.
Ooh, that's my question.
That.
That's a big
Absolutely
conversation right now.
It's great stuff.
So you're saying that tomorrow against the Golden Knights, it's most likely going to be Frankie instead of Grube.
No.
We're breaking the rules.
I think Bednar is going to break the rule and
I don't like that one bit.
Why do you think that, Rudo?
Well, firstly, because he's broken that rule in the past. But secondly, Grubauer's the number one. Grubauer gave up a 1-goal performance against a much tougher St. Louis Blues team. A shutout is great for Frankie, but to be honest, he didn't have that heavy of a workload. Dallas really only had a couple of quality scoring chances on him. And there has been a lot of talk from both of these goaltenders about how they feel a lot more comfortable when they get to play consecutive games in a row and keep going. So whoever you play in game 3 of the round robin here, I think you have to start in game 1 of round 1. And I do not think Bednar wants to play Frankie in round 1 first. I do believe both goalies will likely get games, especially if they keep this back-to-back schedule up that they've had. But they're going to pick one that they want to ride, at least until they have a bad game. So
let me ask you this, Rudo. Which guy do you think is more capable of getting, like, ridiculously hot? Like, goes down in Avs folklore, becomes a legend, jerseys in the stadium hot?
I think it's Group. We kind of saw it at the end of last season. He had something like a .938 save percentage in the last month of the year, and it wasn't quite as hot in the playoffs, but still played very, very well. His ceiling, I think, is just a little bit higher because his rebound control is better, and there's less of that opportunity for teams to kind of score fluke goals on him. And yeah, I mean, look, anything can happen. I'd take either goalie. If they put up a .950 save percentage in a game, you say, all right, we're just going to ride that guy until they have a mistake. So that's the way goaltending goes in hockey.
I mean, it's honestly not a bad problem to have, having to choose between two good goalies. So let's go to the main topic of this. How have your expectations changed after 2 games for the Avs?
Man, my expectations were relatively high. Before everything paused, I think conference finals was on the table for the Avalanche already. Now, this team could win the Stanley Cup. They are legitimate cup contenders, if not cup favorites. Certainly in the Western Conference, maybe in the league as a whole. I can barely contain the hype, to be honest with you. I'm trying to hold it down a little bit here, but this is the best Avs team in at least 15 years. Maybe since 2001.
Maybe ever of all time. Maybe in the history of
it's honestly not that far off. If they go out and but sign Taylor Hall in the offseason after all of this, it's probably the best team the Avs have ever had.
I mean, it's hard to argue against this. You know, the Avs will probably be favorites on Saturday to win the game to get the 1 seed in the Western Conference, go undefeated in the round robin. And when you're the 1 seed, you should make the Stanley Cup Finals, and you should, and when you get there, you have a chance to win it, obviously. So I don't know how the expectations I hate doing this to a team, but I don't know how the expectations can be less than at least making it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
It's really tough too, because a lot of the Western Conference, the play-in round teams have not looked very good. Like, the Avs may well have one of the easier paths to the finals compared to the East, which is going to be a total bloodbath. So get on board. That's all I got to say on that bandwagon.
So the Avs are fighting for that number 1 spot in the West, and Nathan MacKinnon, their star, has yet to score a goal. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he's yet to score a goal, but the thing is, he's playing great. If he continues to play like this, he will not stay off the scoreboard for much longer, and that's awesome. The Avs have had in their 2 games that have counted, they've had 6 goal scorers, different goal scorer for every single goal they've scored. So their depth has shown up. The top line is playing very well, even if they haven't really produced. The only thing that is lacking right now is the fourth line production hasn't really come through. They haven't recorded even assists, but even then, the fourth line is super solid, shutting down other teams. So the Avs are hot at the right time right now.
Yeah, the secondary is scoring. I mean, you got Burra, Kadri, Nemesnikov, and then, of course, Kale's second postseason goal, was it?
Yep.
Ever, and he had that first goal against the Dallas Stars. It's been great to see.
Crazy goal too. Kale, one-time slap shot he scores on. What can't that kid do? Like, it's insane.
It really is insane. I guess my question for you is, when the hell are they going to play that game on Saturday?
I'll tell you when we find out.
How is that a thing?
So
no, yeah, I mean, so there's people asking about a DNVR Avs watch party, but we haven't sent out the Eventbrite because we don't have a time yet.
Yeah, so there are 2 elimination games being played today. They should be over around 7 Mountain Time, and then once those are done, if they know if the teams are eliminated or if they have to play tomorrow, I'm assuming they will release the schedule. I would guess that the time will be relatively close to 4:30, as it has been for the Avs up to this point. But if both teams get eliminated, they're going to put them in prime time. So just keep track of the games happening today, I guess.
Unbelievable. This shouldn't be a thing.
It's pretty ridiculous.
I realize people aren't going to the stadium, so they don't have to plan that up. But like college football, they give their times 10 days ahead of the game, and that feels like it's too close. Like we're inside of 24 hours from when they might play, and we're not going to know what time they're playing.
Yeah, I'm used to like a week in advance with the NHL playoffs. It legitimately could be like 15 hours before we know when the Avs are playing.
The funniest part is I asked AJ on Monday, like, oh, it still says TBD. Like, when do you think we'll know? And he's like, I really don't know. I'm like, but like probably like Wednesday, right? He's like, I really don't know. I'm like, but it can't be like Thursday or Friday. He's like,
Here
it
we
very
are.
well could be Friday night.
Yep.
I was like, no way. That's over exaggerating. We'll know before then. And here we are.
Allie told me, she's like, it says TBD on the schedule. I was like, yeah, that can't be right. There's got to be a typo. Ask AJ.
He literally didn't believe me. And then we asked Rudo yesterday while we were at the DNVR bar, and Rudo was like, yep, it still says TBD. Pretty crazy. But no matter what, tomorrow's going to be a fun day at the DNVR bar. We've got Nuggets starting at 1:30. Whenever the Avs start, hopefully in between that 4 o'clock, 4:30 range would work out perfect for us. And then we've got the Rockies at night. It's going to be, we've had 3 days of
the triple header.
Triple header.
This is what we were built for, baby. This is what we were built for.
Hell yeah, it is. Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, it's just wild to me thinking, like, if this was game 82 for the Avalanche and they were playing for the 1 seed, like, can you imagine the suspense of that? And, like, all of that is about to happen, and we don't even know what time the game is. It's just, it blows my mind. It really does.
Minor detail, really, when you think about it.
I mean, hey, they're guaranteed a top 2 seed either way. So as much as I'd love to see the Avs get the 1 seed, even if they don't, they are in the driver's seat. They get home ice advantage in the first 2 rounds at minimum. So, gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Rudo, RK, you guys were both on the golf course yesterday for Big Drive Live. How'd it go? Ryan, what'd you think of Rudo's swing?
Yo, Rudo absolutely blew me away. I honestly, I feel bad for like underestimating him as much as I did, but I was thinking like, oh, I feel like he'll probably be able to hit a couple shots, but he was dialed in, like really just throwing darts out there. So I was greatly impressed with Rudo, even though his side didn't get the win. I think everyone represented themselves very well.
Yeah, well, as long as I have to play tee to green, we're good. It's once I pull that putter out that I get into a little bit of trouble. I'd like to apologize to Mitchell for not being able to pull my weight and get the W for us there. But Eric was able to get the job done, him and Spence. So congratulations to them on the first Big Drive Energy W there.
Yeah, Big Drive Live. So basically, twice a month, we're going to go out to the golf course, do a live stream of these guys playing. Yesterday, what was it called? What you guys played? How do you
Golf
describe
on
it was modified alternate shot, which is probably what we'll do most of the time. Basically, make the amateurs have to play as much as the pros and contribute just as much as them.
So hopefully we'll get Harrison out there and Drew. Harrison, how's your golf game?
No.
Ryan thinks it's good, but I mean, the last time I golfed was at Top Golf. That was like 2 years ago.
I've been talking about Harrison's swing at Top Golf for 2 years.
Yeah, that's how good it was that night.
Yeah, he was dialed in. I feel like I'm like the Nugget scout seeing Jokic in Serbia. I'm like, look, we can work with this. We've got a lot of potential here.
Hey, if you can perform on camera, you'll look better than Eric, so you're good to go.
I did see that one where Eric just like totally grounded it. I think it was right after you guys went live for the second time.
Yeah, Eric struggled when the camera turned on at the end. He even on 18, he set up Spencer for the game-winning shot, but he like did it on accident.
What I was surprised about on a Big Live Drive yesterday, that's okay.
That works too.
Big Drive Live was the amount of wardrobe. Oh my God! Maybe I need some more Strava Craft coffee. Wardrobe talk. We were talking about Eric's shoes, Rudo's shoes, Spencer's pants. So Harrison, Drew, come prepared. There's a lot about the outfits.
I don't know if I'll be able to match Rudo's shoes. I will not be able to match those.
I can't imagine Harrison rocking the Fila hiking boots on the golf course.
I told you this last night at the bar. Rudo had the best golf stees ever. Just like walked up to the tee, smacked the drive right down the middle of the fairway, just walked off like it was nothing. I was digging it.
Cracked an avalanche amber and started making plays.
I'm telling you, you need your swing juice. You just play golf better with a little bit of swing juice.
Amen.
Drew, you just said no. That's all you got for me.
Yeah, no.
No.
Okay.
No, I've attempted to hit a golf ball a few times. No one needs to see any of that.
I can't wait. If you guys ever want me back on, please, I'm happy to go again.
Hell yeah, free golf.
Those are always going to be a blast. Twice a month. Definitely check out. Oh, someone behind you that distracted me. And then also they have a weekly podcast called Big Drive Energy. So definitely check that out. But also another golf thing this weekend. Golf's first major of the year has officially started. The golfers are in San Francisco to tee off and compete for the crown. And there's no better way to join the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook. Ryan, have you already placed your bets for this major?
Yeah, I'm in on Justin Thomas. A little bit of a shaky finish for him yesterday. I'm trying to see right now if he's making any moves today. I also had they had a great little profit boost at DraftKings Sportsbook. Tiger to make the cut. He's in 36th place right now, so he's hanging on. We need him to probably just stay right there, and we'll cash that bet. Obviously, everyone wants him to jump up into the leaderboard because that's way more exciting. But Justin Thomas and Tiger, those are the two horses I'm riding this weekend.
Right. Not only do they have that one special, they're offering a bunch of different things. And all new users get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. Every day of the tournament, DraftKings Sportsbook is boosting your profits by 30%. All you have to do is opt in and place the bet. Head to the app right now and check out all they have to offer. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DNVR when you sign up. For a limited time, all new users can get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. That's right, DraftKings Sportsbook is going all out with the sign-up bonus up to $1,000. Just enter the code DNVR when you sign up. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires 25x playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
I'm looking up at the TVs right now at the DNVR bar. There's just a random horse race going on. And I might just hop on DraftKings and throw some money down on the 3-horse known as Hoop Dream, which is a perfect perfect segue into where we're heading next.
Oh, yes, Hoop Dream.
Yeah, the only gambling problem I have is not betting on MPJ right now. Like
Harrison, yeah. I mean, let's just start it off with that. MPJ. Wow. Are you surprised?
Yeah. I'm definitely surprised. Look, so
he's had 3 30-point nights.
Well, he had 27 last night against Portland, but I mean, pretty much. They took him out with 3 minutes left. If he would have stayed in, he probably would have gotten 30. So the funny thing is, MPJ had a great January. That was really the month when he broke out. I think he averaged like 12.5 points a game on crazy efficiency, like a super high field goal percentage. But he was only playing 20 to 25 minutes a game, really. So I feel like now is just what we're seeing what he can do with 30 plus minutes a night. And I mean, the guy just gets buckets. He opened the game last night with 10 points in the first quarter, just like he did in the previous game. And it was just effortless. I can't remember a rookie or like a second year guy even who has scored just this effortless. And I mean, it's crazy. I'm completely sold on him. I think he can be a star. I've seen enough, quite frankly. I had seen enough prior to the hiatus, but I mean, what he's done with just increased playing time and a key role, it's been special. It's been really special.
Who's the last player on the Nuggets that you've seen step up to the 3-point line and just fire with a hand in his face and you actually believed it was going in like MPJ does?
Jamal when he's hot, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the Nuggets. All their top shooters have been so streaky. Like Jamal, even when they had Malik Beasley, like he could get so hot, but then he could get so cold. Juancho the same way at times.
Juancho's cold for like 9 months.
Yeah. And then really hot for like a week. But no, they've all been so streaky, and I've always thought his shot was for real. He shot over 40% from 3 in the regular season, but man, he just steps up to the 3-point line, like Rudo said, and just rises over guys. Like it was funny. Michael Mullen was talking about it last night. He still needs to work on, how to get separation in like his one-on-one matchups when he's trying to break guys down off the dribble. But even if he doesn't, he can just rise over guys because he's so much taller than whoever's guarding him. So, I mean, him being 6'10" just gives him such an advantage,
It's unbelievable, like, what's going on with MPJ because, you look back to the Carmelo era and the very beginning of the Carmelo era, the Nuggets were nothing at all, and Carmelo came in and was, like, competent, and it was like, this is incredible. And, he was scoring, like, 25 and 30, and he had some big games as a rookie, but he was the only guy out there, so he got all of the attention and all of the focus and all of the hype. And it's like MPJ just struts into this, Western Conference Finals contender team, and I don't think he's getting the proper amount of attention and hype because he's just like blending into this really good team. Now, I know you guys at DNVR Nuggets are definitely, trying as much as you can, but I feel like if MPJ was on a bad team and walked onto it, he would be the entire talk of the town. Like, this dude went for 37, 33, 27?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if any player on the Nuggets did that, we would be talking about what an incredible streak this guy's a rookie.
And he's pulling down like 15 rebounds a game, too.
Right.
Yeah.
His rebounding might be better than his shooting.
And he's breaking rookie records all around the league.
Yeah. We were talking about this last night, and my guy Adam Mares from DNVR Nuggets looked this up.
I think it's our guy.
Yeah, our guy, our collective guy. But we like to compare some parts of Michael Porter Jr.'s game to Kevin Durant. He told me that Kevin Durant did not have 3 straight games with 27 or more in his rookie year.
Wow.
And Michael Porter did that after a 4-month layoff with not really the most optimal teammates around him, right? Like, it's pretty much just him and Jokic doing everything right now.
And that's what's crazy is, and you said this off the top with MPJ, like, it's crazy how easy his buckets come, and a lot of it is because of Jokic. And like that's what excites me the most is like Jokic is going to create easy buckets for him on a night in, night out basis. Like, you can basically put MPJ down for 12 on 6 layups that Jokic just gets him. And I think for all of the talk about his jump shot and his rebounding, one thing that maybe isn't being talked about enough is his ability to finish around the rim creatively. Like, he's got left, he's got right, he's got, the little fadeaway and the drop. Like, he can finish every which way at the rim over just about anyone.
Yeah. He's just a toy that Jokic really hasn't had before.
Yep.
And Jokic can just stand at the top of the key and just fire passes to MPJ cutting to the hoop, or like, cutting to the basket for an alley-oop. Jokic hasn't had that guy before. So, like, those two can be an unbelievable pairing. As good as Jamal Murray and Jokic are as a two-man pairing, MPJ and Jokic can be better, I'm telling you. They have a higher ceiling than Murray and Jokic, who are already, like, one of the best pick-and-roll duos in the league. Like, that's how good MPJ and Jokic can be together.
Well, speaking of Jamal Murray, right now the Nuggets don't have Murray, don't have Gary, and don't have Will. Do you know any updates on these injuries? Are we going to see anyone tomorrow? And if we don't, when do you start getting worried about these guys?
Yeah, so I mean, they're halfway through these 8 seeding games before the playoffs. And yeah, Jamal hasn't played, and Will Barton hasn't played, and Gary Harris hasn't played. Jamal Murray's been questionable for the last 2 weeks. So I guess there's a chance that he goes. The other guys I feel less confident in. When do I get nervous? I would say that if the Nuggets don't have like their full roster for at least 2 of these seeding games, I think that'd be a little nerve-wracking. I think 2 games is enough time for them to establish some sort of chemistry. Not ideal, but you know, if you have 2 games to work with, I think that's going to be all right. Because we saw Jamal Murray not play in the first 2 scrimmages and then just roll out of bed and have one of the better games of his career in that 3rd scrimmage. I know it was a scrimmage, but like he looked great. So less nervous about him than the other 2. But 2 seeding games would be okay. I think I'm not going to panic if they're not playing tomorrow against Utah.
There's a part of me that thinks like maybe he is a little banged up, but there's a part of me that thinks like the Nuggets saw that scrimmage and they were like, yeah, he's good to go. Just shut him down. We're fine. We don't need those bumps and bruises and thigh bruises and all the little things that he gathers over the course of, you know, a 6 or 8 game stretch.
Yeah, and also look at all the other injuries that have already happened in the bubble. Like Ben Simmons is going to be out for 4 weeks. Jonathan Isaac tore his ACL. So this is the most susceptible to injuries players have ever been, just with the layoff and whatnot. So not surprised they're being super cautious. It's probably smart.
Harrison, so the Nuggets lost last night against the Trailblazers, but on the DNVR Nuggets post-game show, none of you were too upset. Obviously, you're always hoping your team wins, but a lot of fans on social media were also not that upset on this loss. Why was that?
So I get the frustration, and like the competitor in me gets the frustration because it's Portland. It's the Nuggets' rival. They had that game. They could have won it if they left Jokic, if they left MPJ in. So I get it. But like the Nuggets are taking a long-term view. They're not really playing for seeding. They're treating these games as pretty much preseason games. And I will tell you this. I don't know if the Nuggets are playing 4D chess and positioning themselves for seeding and a first-round opponent like they did last year. I don't know if they are. But if they were, losing last night was the right move. Because a loss to Portland and the Trailblazers getting that win moves them to a half game behind Memphis for the 8 seed. So Portland's on track now to potentially get that 8 seed. And they could push the Lakers and maybe take a game or 2 from the Lakers and tire the Lakers out more than any of those other teams that are contending for the 8 seed. And for teams that could see the Lakers later on in the playoffs, you know, that's a good thing. Also, the Nuggets are firmly in the 3 spot right now. And the team that's likely going to be in the 6, if things hold, is the Utah Jazz. And the Utah Jazz, in my opinion, would be the most desirable first-round matchup for Denver. So if the Nuggets stay in the 3, I think they likely play Utah. If they were to move up to the 2, they get Dallas, who, again, just in my opinion, is a much tougher first-round matchup than the Jazz. So I don't think it was the worst thing in the world that the Nuggets dropped that game last night.
You said take a couple games from the Lakers. Look, I realize that, you know, these LeBron teams usually have a little rough stretch usually at the end of the season where people will start to doubt them. But I truly think that the Blazers could push them. If Dame is playing like he played last night, if he's going to hit 11 threes and, you know, someone like Gary Trent Jr. is going to chip in 7 as well, they can beat anyone on any night. Even though they somehow almost lost to the Nuggets B team, but that's aside from the point. I think that, you know, I think they can really, really push the Lakers, especially if for some reason the Lakers can't get out of this slump.
Right. There's some weird stuff going on with the Lakers right now. They have the worst offense in the bubble so far. LeBron's hurt. I I think they'll be okay, but I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on.
I think I saw a stat that said their last 5 games is the worst 5-game 3-point shooting stretch in NBA history.
Yeah, I saw that. So yeah, I think Portland could push the Lakers. I think they can make them sweat for sure.
Yeah, and I'm with you on the matchups there. I mean, I'm not scared by Houston. I'm not scared by Utah at all. Dallas doesn't sound fun. That feels like a 7-game series if you have to play Dallas.
Yeah, I think everybody's trying to avoid Houston right now, which is funny. But if the Nuggets get matched up with the Jazz, I think that's best case scenario, and that looks like what we're trending towards. Things can still happen, but that seems to be where we're headed.
We talk about who's going to guard Jokic if they play Houston. How about who's going to guard MPJ?
Yeah.
MPJ would be like 3 inches taller than their biggest starter.
The thing about Houston is they're just not worried about that because they're going to shoot 53s a game. And if they make 35% of those, they're probably winning that game.
Yeah.
So I don't think Houston's really worried about that. The bigger question is, can Denver score with Houston? And I don't know about that. You know, we still have to see what Jamal Murray looks like when he comes back, how he fits with MPJ. So if Denver's scoring with Houston, I think is a bigger question.
We have someone in the comments asking, are we happy with the MPJ endurance level? Yeah,
actually, I'm super impressed. I did not think he was going to play 34 minutes last night on a back-to-back after he played heavy minutes the night before. And he looked great. I mean, he hasn't played this many minutes over the last, 4 days since, I don't know, his senior year in high school.
Wow.
Because it wasn't at Missouri. It wasn't last year, obviously. So
yeah,
I'm impressed. I think he's looked like he's in really good shape.
All right, Harrison, how have your expectations for this team in the last week?
My expectations, well, they're definitely higher with MPJ because they just have a much higher ceiling. Like, they can win the West if MPJ is playing at this level and Jamal Murray is playing to his peak as well with Jokic. They can definitely win the West. So my expectations are definitely higher, but the injuries are just kind of sitting there in the background as well, just because we haven't seen this team whole yet, which is weird. Nuggets have been in the Disney bubble for a month, and we haven't seen them whole yet. So my expectations are higher, but, I'm still kind of waiting and seeing.
You talk about, how the 2-man game with MPJ and Jokic can be, on another level. But what about the 3-man game of MPJ, Murray, and Jokic? You run the pick and roll with Murray and Jokic, and you kick out to MPJ for wide open threes in the corner all night.
Totally, and I think those three can thrive together, because how many times have we seen them run that pick and roll and kick it out to a wide open Gary Harris who just misses a three? Mm-hmm. That's kind of been the death of the Nuggets offense, and that's what opposing defenses try to make Denver do. So I'm with you. I think those three can thrive together. It's something that will probably take some reps and minutes to hammer out, just those three getting comfortable with each other. But I think they can thrive. I think they can all play really well off of each other.
Well, we'll be here tomorrow at the DNVR bar for the Nuggets game at 1:30. We'll, of course, be doing a post-game show afterwards, winners, losers lounge, hoping for winners, especially because at the DNVR bar, when the Nuggets win, you get a shot. And those shots are pretty good.
They're tasty.
Oh, is it Saturday yet? I can't wait. Triple headers are the best. Can we just make that every day?
Speaking of, someone mentioned I did misspell the title. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I apologize. I had not drank my Strava Craft coffee, and so I apologize for that mistake. But do you guys like free stuff? I like free stuff.
Yep.
Big free stuff guy. Yeah, big free
If
stuff. Yeah.
if you listening want free stuff, well, all you have to do is schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam at Green Mountain Dental Group, and you will receive a free Sonicare toothbrush. Besides the free electronic toothbrush, Green Mountain Dental Group is family-owned and one of the best dentists here in Colorado. Our sales director, Lindsay, just got her wisdom teeth removed and said that it was the best dentist experience she's had. Her dentist personally called her to check up on her a few days after the surgery, sent her a card, just all these little things to make you know that they care, they actually care about you. So that's awesome. Plus, they're all diehard Denver sports fans, and supporting them helps us here at DNVR. So don't forget to schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam at Green Mountain Dental Group and receive a free Sonicare toothbrush today. Yeah, someone said tomorrow's a busy day. Yes, it is. It's going to be a jam-packed day full of Denver sports. It's going to be awesome. I think we'll be here all day, most of us, watching all the teams.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, tonight, the only game we have tonight is a Rockies game. The Rockies are 9-3 right now. They've won all 4 of their series. Drew, this team is pretty good at baseball.
Yeah. It turns out that when you pitch good and you play mostly pretty good defense and you get the key hits when you need to, you win a lot of baseball games. Obviously, the big revelation has been the bullpen, but other than that, the team has been more or less themselves. From to a man, they've been more or less what you would expect. A couple of guys maybe playing over their heads a little bit, but then a couple of guys have gotten off to a slow start, including in some ways Nolan Arenado. So yeah, it's if the team was 9-3, but it was just one guy every night was doing huge things, and it was some kind of ridiculous hot streak they were on, I would be telling people pump the brakes a little bit on the excitement. But all of their wins are the result of good process, good baseball. And in fact, if anything, you can take a look at all 3 of those losses coming by just 1 run and recognize that they're just a couple of key hits or key pitches here and there away from being undefeated on the season. And that's a little bit crazy to think about. Yeah.
Drew, can you tell me the Rockies' starting pitcher's ERA?
Oh, I could right before the Freeland start. I know it came up just a little bit. It had been sitting right at 198. It was under 2 there for a while. Now, Freeland gave up the 3-run homer in the 7th inning yesterday, so I would assume it's up over 2.
But low 2s?
Yeah.
And can you tell me what the Rockies' home field is?
I believe it is Coors. I believe they play at Coors Field.
All right.
Yeah. No bubble in MLB. No bubble. They're still out there at Coors.
Just checking on how well the pitching is going.
Yeah.
They should all win the Cy Young.
Right, collectively. They really should. And, they're getting these contributions from guys like Daniel Bard, who's been out of the game for 7 years. He was coaching the Diamondbacks guys last year. Yency Almonte, who really hadn't shown much early in his career, had been a great prospect, but every time he came up to the bigs, he got knocked around. Suddenly it's clicking for him. And so, it's been pretty amazing to see them getting contributions from everybody. But you're right. And both of them, too, it's like the bullpen ERA. If you take out Wade Davis, who had that one just absolute implosion at Coors Field, the bullpen ERA is among the best in all of baseball as well.
Drew, last time we spoke last week, you were headed to Coors Field, and I just want you to talk a little bit about that experience, being in a baseball stadium with literally just reporters there and the players. How was that?
Sure. Yeah, it is unusual. It's very strange. It's an odd environment to be in, but at some point, it is. You're watching a ball game, and it all unfolds out there. Some of the noises, whatever we're calling these things, the in-game sounds are a little bit stranger when you're there, and it's that much more obvious that the crowd noise. I feel like when you're sitting at home, you can almost forget for a minute that it's artificial crowd noise, but when you're there and they're piping it in, it's like very obvious that it's fake, and so that's strange. But it's. I think I said this before last week, sort of in preparation of it, and even going out during summer camp. I try to take it in. I try to recognize that it's kind of an honor and a privilege to be one of the very few people in the whole country right now who gets to go and take in a live professional sporting event of one of the major sports. And so just to be there in the building while it's happening is, it's pretty cool.
It's funny because when I'm watching NBA games right now, like I totally forget that they're in a bubble. The product's been so good in my opinion, and I think the crowd noise is fine. I'm a fan of the fake crowd noise, at least for NBA. You guys might have differing opinions, but I think it's fine in the NBA. I just think they've done such a good job with the product where I totally forget when watching that they're in a bubble with like no fans and whatnot. It's been so good that I can just like completely focus on that and not think about anything else.
Agreed. I think the NHL is the same way. The product is fantastic. I hate the crowd noise, but they have the production level, especially the national broadcast for the NHL is excellent.
I think for baseball, the weirdest thing has been if you're listening to the game over the radio, you don't hear any of those things. And so it's just like quiet when they're waiting for a pitch to happen. And like, I'm like, wait, what happened? Did my radio turn off? And then I hear them. So I think that's something just getting used to, but it's definitely been something I've noticed.
Does the radio pick up Buddy Murphy's yelling obscenities or?
Someone asked who's starting tomorrow? We've got Senzatella starting tonight.
News just came across that Chichi Gonzalez has been put on the 10-day IL, and the Rockies have called up Ryan Castellani. So, and I doubt they'd start him, but I guess they could. That'd be a heck of an MLB debut.
Interesting.
They could go the other way and go with Jeff Hoffman. I think would be your other option there. This is the one area, we'll see how long that pitcher ERA stays low. And again, that was, Chichi had a rough game, gave up 2 home runs in 3 innings his last time out. The Rockies still managed to rebound and win that game. But it's going to be patchwork 5th rotation until they get someone in here or somebody emerges. Honestly, Jeff Hoffman is the most likely to do it. Castellani had a decent prospect shine on him for a while, but last year he was both hurt and also just really bad in AAA. But everybody was really bad in AAA last year, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see, but it's a tough spot to ask Castellani, who's in no kind of rhythm. Hasn't experienced positive results on a baseball diamond at any level in like a year, to just step in here against the Mariners, who not the best baseball team in the world, not the scariest lineup. I guess if you got to face an MLB lineup kid, it might as well be that one. But that's a tough spot. I'd rather that piecemeal it together. A little bit of Jeff Hoffman, find those guys that can go multiple innings. It's going to be tough.
Am I crazy for thinking that the Rockies organization should look at this opportunity and just say, you know what, these guys are still going to have less starts than they normally would on 4 days rest. Let's go 4-man rotation for the rest of the season.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't do it for the whole rest of the season. I would consider doing it on occasion, especially if you feel like you can make up for it somewhere. The Rockies have an off day after this. No, they only have one off day this whole month, but I do think it might be coming up after this series. I got to remember where it is now.
It isn't after this series, so they play the Mariners and then they go straight to playing the Diamondbacks on the road.
On the road, yeah. See, that's the biggest problem is they don't have an off day for a while. So I would be reticent to do that, especially because the guys are young and you really don't want to, like Germán Marquez, you don't want to mess with him and where he's at right now. And they're all pitching well. You don't want to throw a wrench at them. You can try to piecemeal one game together. As we saw, they tried to do it. They had 3 consecutive guys who had not pitched all season come out in that game with Chichi Gonzalez, then Jeff Hoffman, then Philip Deal, all making their season debuts in like game 7 or 8. None of them was great. Actually, Hoffman was the best of the 3, but the Rockies still managed to win that game. So if you can pull that off, because then they do get to turn around and hand the ball to Germán Marquez in what could be. So Sensatella, so that just puts more pressure on Sensatella tonight, right? You go out and win game 1 behind Sensatella. Then game 2, you're kind of playing with house money because on Sunday you got Marquez going against some guy that's got a 9.33 ERA, a team you should be able to beat. You better be able to win that game. So number 2, you're almost hoping game 2 is you're playing with house money.
This is a random question, and it's kind of self-serving because I didn't feel it. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to make sure. So it looks like Thursday, August 13th is their first off day.
Okay.
So next Thursday, pretty much. But
next Thursday.
There you go.
And then they don't have another one the rest of the month.
Drew, what's up with the Giants not announcing starters? Can you explain this to me?
Again, this is like you guys were talking about the hockey game earlier, and them being like, I don't know, we'll let you know when we do. I was like, I've never done this before, where it's like I go to bed the night before 3 days in a row, not knowing who's going to pitch for the other team the following day, and that does make it difficult to be like, well, starting pitching advantage. Now, pretty much anyone the Giants could have thrown in that series, the Rockies are going to have the starting pitching advantage, except the day they had to piecemeal it together. But still, I don't know. The Giants are weird. Gabe Kapler is weird. Gabe Kapler took out Tyler Anderson, who was basically working on a 2-single shutout, dominating the Rockies on 66 pitches through 5 innings, and he turned it over to the worst bullpen in all of baseball. And immediately, in less than 2 innings, the Rockies scored 6 runs on 7 hits. I don't know what Gabe Kapler's doing.
So it's funny. It's funny. The NBA, when they partnered up with all the gambling companies, they changed up their rules for when you have to report injuries and when you have to announce who's in and who's out. So now, like, Denver has to submit an injury report at 5 p.m. today for tomorrow's game because of gambling.
Who can I
that
pay
is the sole
to have the
reason.
NHL start doing that?
Yeah, that is the sole reason why the NBA has that rule. So it's interesting that baseball doesn't when, like, the starting pitcher is obviously the most important part of gambling on a baseball game.
Totally true.
Wow. The Rockies just released their lineup for tonight's game, and Elias Diaz is behind the plate, despite the fact that he hasn't played. He hasn't even gotten a pinch hit appearance yet this season, but he's out there tonight. He's catching. Looks like a night off for David Dahl. Garrett Hampson's out there in left field. Everything else is pretty much normal. Oh, Chris Owings is playing center. That's interesting.
Okay, so we're going with the Sunday lineup, huh?
So far, Bud Black has made, 2 questionable calls, and they were back-to-back in the same game in the home opener. Other than that, everything he's done has worked out well this year. But let's see what happens next.
All right, Drew, how have your expectations for the Rockies changed in the last 2 weeks?
So, honestly, not much. And I'd love to be able to say, I've gotten much more excited about the team. But while I've seen some people be like, wait till they actually play the real teams. That's disrespectful to the A's.
I have seen
especially.
a lot of people say that.
We've talked about a lot before how most people thought the Padres were going to be the team to beat after the Dodgers this year in the NL West. And the Rangers made a bunch of flashy offseason moves. And the Giants are not that good. You still got to beat those teams. It still doesn't work that way in baseball. But, they haven't played the Dodgers yet, those kinds of things. I'm very aware of that. I'm also aware that their pitchers aren't going to pitch quite this well for the whole season. But no, this is about what I thought they were going to do. The beginning of the season was really important. They needed to get out to a hot start. They had all the ability in the world to do so. I think if I'm stretching for the thing that's expanded my expectations the most, the thing that's got me going, they have a real shot to win the division here. It's the way the bullpen is played. It's the way that the departures of Sean McGee, and now with Wade Davis on the IL, and looks like that's going to get pushed back. The most recent comments from Bud Black were, he still hasn't even gone out there and thrown yet. And everybody that stepped in the meantime, even if Wade Davis does return fully healthy and the team feels like they have to give him one more honest chance for whatever reason, with everybody else pitching well, they're not going to throw him back into the closer's role. They would put him back out there in, a game like we were talking about, game 2 of this Seattle series, if he's healthy and they happen to be down by 4 because Jeff Hoffman went out there and got shelled, and you go, all right, Wade, let's see what you got. And he gives up 2 more, and you go, all right, that's it. and they get rid of him. But there's also a chance that with the way everyone else is pitching out of the bullpen, we don't see Wade Davis throw another pitch for the Colorado Rockies ever again.
Wow.
And it won't be, unfair in any way. There won't be a spot for him. These other guys are pitching too well. And if that's the case, I think kind of the sky is the limit for this team. And while I never would have said they were the favorites, and I'm not going to call them that until I see them play, the Dodgers in particular.
Yeah.
If they were playing the Dodgers tonight, I would feel very confident in their ability to go out there and win the baseball game. I'm not saying that they would necessarily. It's baseball, though. Anybody can win any given game. And the way the Rockies' starting pitching is going right now, they can beat anybody in baseball.
The whole idea of, let's wait until they play the real teams thing, that might fly for me in a normal scenario, in a scenario where they're playing 162 games this year. But, speaking from someone who covers a short season sport, a short schedule sport, this is like if the Broncos started 4-1 and someone's like, well, let's wait till they play the real teams. It's like, no, because they can go 6-7 from here on out and win 10 games and be in the playoffs. Okay, so the strength of schedule hasn't been that great. That's fine. They're off to a hot start, so now they can play basically 500 ball from here on out and be easily into the playoffs.
Right, comfortably into the playoffs. Oh, DH
Drew, we have
tonight,
someone
Matt
asking.
Kemp. Matt Kemp
Nice.
is DH until further notice.
Let's go.
He's earned that gig until he starts having bad at-bats. But that's actually that's a great segue answer into this whole thing, because it's not just because you're right, RK. It's totally a different thing, and so you've got to look at the smallness of the season, but you've also got to look at the process of the Rockies. Antonio Senzatella doesn't have a couple of wins because, hey, he happened to get lucky those couple of games. He's pitching way better from pitch to pitch. Matt Kemp, why is he hitting home runs? Because he's taking good at-bats. He's swinging at strikes. He's laying off of balls. He's taking confident swings at good pitches, and he's hitting them really hard. So it's all of this stuff. Like, you just look across it. Daniel Bard, is it just a nice story and guys are in there in the batter's box going, oh, man, I don't want to get a hit off of this guy. He used to have the yips. No, he's throwing 98-mile-an-hour gas at the, outside edge of the strike zone. That's going to produce positive results. And as long as the Rockies, it's sort of like the flip side. Tyler Anderson, welcome back to Coors Field as Giants the other day. He had a really nice game. Why? Because he's a great pitcher who always pitches well at Coors Field? No, the pitches were in good spots. Right now, for the Rockies, their pitches are in good spots. Their hitters are in good spots. The defense, oddly enough, has been the thing that's been shakiest here and there. And then they're still showing you the fact that they're some of the best defenders in the world, especially on the left side, with some ridiculous plays. So
I just
I don't
have
think they're gonna stop.
I have a live picture of Matt Kemp right here.
Oh, goodness. Oh.
Hey, there we go.
Go check out our new shirt. Colorado
Exactly.
Rakes.
Straight up. It's a little bit unusual watching that guy rake for the Colorado Rockies, but there it is.
He owes us 40 home runs, 280 RBIs.
Right?
All right.
I think he's on pace for that, actually.
Nuggets at 1:30. Avs, don't know, but they are playing tomorrow. Rockies at 7:10. We'll be here at the DNVR bar. Come hang out with. You have to RSVP, I believe, for Nuggets. I believe Rockies is also a watch party, so be sure to RSVP so that you can secure a seat. We're following all of the COVID-19 guidelines and such, so that's why we do have a limit on how many people we can have at the bar. But while we're at the bar, if you are here, definitely let us know. We don't want to necessarily always interrupt you at the table. So if you see us going by and you want to chat, come grab us, and we'd love to talk to you guys and drink some Breck brews. RK Special is officially on the menu now.
Let's go. Half Hop Peak IPA, half Strawberry Sky. Enjoy it. Your life will be changed after you have an RK Special.
I don't think we have to go that far in it, but
No, that's
I
fact.
do,
You pair that
yeah.
with the Cajun dry rub wings, and it's literally a life-altering experience.
Wow. Yeah,
wow.
A lot of people are saying this across the country.
Many people.
Across the country. Okay. Well, Ryan, let's finish off with you. The Broncos have released a training camp schedule. What does that look like?
They have?
Didn't you say that? Have they not? Aren't they starting next week? Isn't that at least what we know?
Yeah.
Way to lead me wrong then, because I thought you would.
No. They set a date for when they're starting, which is the 17th, I believe. I'm really bad at remembering dates. I during this whole lockdown, I just calendars became irrelevant, and now they're relevant again, and it's really tough for me. So anyways, I think it's the end, right there at the end of next week, and that's when they're going to start. It's pretty crazy. I don't know. It just feels like this is coming out of nowhere. Usually we have this long lead up, and we would have already been out there, but they're moving that back, but the schedule's staying the same. And so it's really interesting. They're going to have to, work their way up to putting the pads on, but man, it is super exciting to think that we're finally going to get a look at what this offense might look like with Drew Lock and Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler added to the mix. Of course, Melvin Gordon in the mix as well. The Juwan James news is a bit of a hit, but it's just a distraction from what they really have here, which is an extremely talented young group of weapons.
I feel like maybe it's because we're surrounded by Denver sports fans all around, but because of the Nuggets, Rockies, and Avs, the hype on this Broncos offense has just kind of gone away because we haven't had a chance to really see it. So reminding people, having videos of Drew Lock pass to Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler and see what this offense can really be. I think we'll finish off the Denver sports town on how great oh my goodness, I just need a beer. How great.
She gave up on the coffee. She went, you know what?
I am clearly
working. Need to go the other way.
Exactly. That's what it feels like.
I love that strategy.
But with all 4 Denver sports teams exceeding, that's going to be amazing for this town.
Yeah, the Broncos are kind of the last piece of the puzzle here, which is weird because, obviously they're the most popular team in town, but all the other teams are taking care of business right now. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this town reacts, because we know that training camp in Denver is usually a big event, and it's because the only thing they're normally contending with is the Rockies, and unfortunately the Rockies haven't always been doing so well by the time training camp starts. So this is the first time that Broncos training camp ever has true competition. At least multiple teams that they're competing with. It'll be interesting to see how the town reacts. Speaking from a Denver sports fan perspective, I'd love to see the Broncos completely take a back seat here, and everyone, keep their focus on the Nuggets, Avs, and Rockies, especially the Nuggets and Avs as they make these playoff runs. And I kind of think that's what's going to happen. The videos of Drew Lock throwing passes to Jerry Jeudy will get their love on social media, but I don't think the overall Denver sports fan is going to be nearly as invested in the day-to-day minutia of training camp this year, and that's okay. From a full Denver sports fan perspective, that's okay. But it might be helpful for them to fly under the radar a little bit, as I think they are right now, just naturally for what's going on. They might fly under the radar a little bit, and all of a sudden, I think a month from today they're supposed to be playing a football game, which is crazy. Not quite a month from today, but a month from this weekend. They're playing a football game, and it's wow, that's going to come out of nowhere. All of a sudden, they're just going to be out there, and it's going to be time for the Drew Lock show.
We have someone in the comments, Mac Stark, saying, I still maintain there should be a seat in the bar with an iPad strapped to it so that internationals can FaceTime in regularly. That's a great idea.
I like that. You just FaceTime in, someone answers it, and you're in the bar. We should strap it to a robot that can move around the bar, and
one of those vacuums that moves around, but just
a Roomba. Yeah,
there you go.
I like it. We've got it. We're onto something here.
We'll try and figure it out, Mac.
Just invent a thing.
But thank you for everyone who listened. We will be at the DNVR bar pretty much all weekend. I'm about to go try an RK special since clearly it's life-changing, and I need it this Friday after a long week of moving and golf. So definitely come by, say hello. And do you guys what? Do you have anything else to say?
You threw in golf in your long week. It completely canceled out the moving part.
What do you mean? I had to work while you guys got to have fun.
We knew what it meant. I was working too, by the way, but we knew what you meant.
You got to talk about what Rudo's swing was like. I had to make sure the internet and everything was working out well.
Trying to say my swing is ugly?
It just sounded counterintuitive.
Okay, well, for everyone, I had to work during the live stream of golf. That is what I meant, but definitely come down to...
Tough week of beaches and margaritas.
All right. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you next week. Don't forget to drop any questions you have in the DNVR Sports Podcast post on thednvr.com. Check out all of our post-game content, post-game shows that we do here live at the bar, all on YouTube, Periscope, and thednvr.com. We will see you guys next week.